everybody, and welcome to the Lovebird Lane podcast. I'm back. My name is Julianne. If you are new, thank you so much for joining us. And I did miss last week, I have to say. That was because I think I told you in the last episode that Simon was going to be having the week off. And according to the weather forecast, last Thursday was going to be the last kind of sunny day that we were going to have for a few days. So we thought we'd make the most of it. We went for a quick drive down to the beach, had a coffee, and then we did some socially distancing shopping. We actually went to a major shopping centre and had a bit of a browse, so we were a little bit naughty, but it gets to the point where you're stir crazy and you've got to do something. So we did it all very responsibly. We stayed away from people. We didn't touch things. We didn't touch our face. We touched as few things as possible. We bought a few things. But yeah, that's what I was doing last Thursday, was enjoying the last little bit of sunshine before we had a quite rainy weekend. So as you can see, I did actually shave my head. It needs to be done again. It's a lot shorter than it was last time. I'm sitting in my bedroom today as well. As you can see, the background is different. I've got a wedding photo up here. I've got my little area there where I put all my cards and business cards and things that come in parcels all get stuck up on my wardrobe there just so I can enjoy them. But you may hear road noise because I'm right here and my window is open just a crack to let some air in. I'm quite warm this morning. I don't know why. I think it is a slightly warmer day, so that could be it. But yeah, that's kind of, I've been staying at home mostly. I worked because I took last Friday off. Usually I would clean on a Friday afternoon. I took that off so that I could stay home with Simon, seeing he wasn't going to be at work. So I cleaned on Monday, cleaned the house on Monday because that really needed to be done. And then I've just been doing yarn club stuff. And today I'm going to do a little bit of dyeing this afternoon for a personal project because I want another hat. Because obviously I've shaved my head, so my head has been getting quite cold in this cooler weather that we've been having. And I've really been enjoying my sparkling cider hat, which is a pattern by Kristen Lorre, who is Wool'n Vine. And it is knit from 2 strands, 1 strand of fingering, 1 strand of mohair lace. So I've dug out a couple of skeins for me to dye up. I think I'm probably just going to do some sort of grey because the one that I've been wearing a lot is one out of my dusty mauve colourway. And I seem to have lost my one out of my orchard colourway. I don't know what I've done with that. Because I've knit 2 sparkling cider hats. I really like the shape of it. It just looks really good on my head. It's slouchy without being super slouchy. Yeah, I want to knit another one of those. So I'm going to be dyeing some yarn for that today. And I've got a colourway sort of stuck in my head that I want to see if I can recreate on yarn. So I'm going to be doing that later on as well. I've got my dye mojo back a little bit. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen quite a few new colourways coming through. And that is pretty much what I've been doing. Yeah, I've been really enjoying dyeing yarn, and the first instalment of the yarn club went out yesterday. I know one person's already got theirs and liked it, so yay, I'm so glad. Because it's always kind of a little bit daunting to be sending out random skeins of yarn to people. You never know whether it's gonna be something that they like or not. So I was very proud of that colourway. It is gorgeous. It's going to become part of my regular colourway range eventually. But yeah, I hope everybody else who gets it enjoys it too. I've got a few things to talk about today. I've got a couple of finished items and just a couple of things that I've been working on. I've kind of been working on a few different things. Actually, I've just realised I've forgotten one of the things I wanted to talk about. I'll have to go and get that. And while I was up, I went and got my sparkling cider hat that I've been wearing a lot. This is the one in the dusty mauve colourway. So yeah, it's just kind of, it just fits really well, I think. I think it suits my head quite well. It's got just that amount of slouch without being a little over the top. But yeah, because I've been wearing this so much, it needs a wash. So I have been wearing another hat. I don't have that with me either, but I've been keeping hats on most of the time just to keep my head warm. I might leave this on now that I have it on because it's my scalp is a little bit cold. But I got my other item and I might just have a quick drink before I get on to what I have finished. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about that I have finished is actually a project for my dog Granger, and it is a sweater. So it's probably going to be really hard to see because it's quite dark. Everything looks quite dark in my viewfinder, so I'm going to try and lighten it up a little bit in editing, but it's kind of just a big long tube. And this is the knitted dog sweater by Judith Swartz, I believe it is. And I got this out of a book ages ago from the library, and it's just kind of tapers in underneath. It's got a ribbed panel on the bottom, so there's a bit of stretch, little armholes, neck hole, and she gives two options in the pattern for the length of the neck. You can either do 3/4 of an inch just as a basic ribbed neck, or I've done the mock turtleneck, which is, I mean, it's not very big, but it's about 1.5 inches. And I also did the hem a bit longer than is said in the pattern. I believe the pattern says 5 rounds. I did, I think, about 15, because we found because I've knit this pattern twice before, and the first one, which he's currently wearing, he ripped a hole in it, and I put it aside and I didn't darn it straight away, and however it was that I stored it, it was away from, it was in my like UFO basket with mostly sewing projects I haven't finished, and the moths got to it, so it has a lot of holes in it. I darned the original hole that he ripped, and then I found another big area where it was ripped, which is either from him or possibly just from the moths. And I've since found a couple of other holes, so I don't think I'm going to bother darning anymore, because the fact of the matter is there's probably going to be a lot more showing up on there. So I think I will just let him wear that until it falls to pieces, and then we'll just get rid of it. Because the other thing is I'm very much a maker, not a fixer. I'm trying to be better with that and actually taking the time to repair things. I have fixed a pair of shorts for Simon. He had a hole in it, so I fixed that for him. So yeah, I am getting better at fixing things rather than, you know, just getting new things or whatever. So yes, hopefully I will continue that mend instead of buy new into the future. But yeah, so I've knit it twice. The first time I did it as per the pattern, which is to knit it in pieces, seam it together, and then pick up and knit the all those ribbing pieces. The second time I knit it, I sort of adjusted it to in the round, and I also used a different yarn. So this yarn here and the yarn that I originally used is Cascade 220. That's their non-superwash. So there's the 220 superwash, and then this is the non-superwash. I can't remember what this colorway was. It's like, I think it's a wine claret or cranberry or something. It's a really lovely heathered red and black kind of mix. So I used Cascade 220 for the first sweater. I used 220 superwash for the second sweater. So I found, with it being in the round, so it doesn't have those seams to stabilize, and using the superwash yarn, that one stretches out a lot. So this third one, I went back to basics and just did it as a seamed sweater. But we found with the one that was in the round, the ribbing sat flat, like sits flat over his bum. But the one, like, as you can see here, there's kind of like this ridge here where I've picked up the stitches to knit the ribbing. And on his other one, even though it has been blocked, it tends to kind of flip up. So flip up towards his body. So I knit it a little bit longer to try and prevent that flipping up. just to give it a little bit more weight on the other side so that it will hopefully stay down. He hasn't worn this yet, so this is still nice and fresh off the needles. I haven't blocked it. I can't be bothered blocking it. It's just for the dog. His body heat will probably help it to relax anyway. So yeah, now he can wear that instead of his moth-eaten one that he's been wearing for the last week. Alright, and my other FO is my yarn. I finally finished my Burgundy yarn. So yeah, I really ripped through the last little bit of fibre. There wasn't a lot left. Friday, I think it was, because Friday was going to be a very rainy day. I whipped through that last little bit of fibre that I had and started to ply. I'm not one of those people who is really anal about letting the singles rest and things like that. I've never had any issues. Although that being said, 2 of the bobbins had been well rested. The 3rd bobbin had been mostly rested apart from that last little section that I spun, because it had been quite a long time between the last time I spun and when I finished it. So technically it was all rested. We'll just go with that. But yeah, this is what I have. So it did do what I thought it would do, to come through with this lovely marling sort of barber poling kind of look. It's fairly consistent. I'm pretty happy with how consistent it is. I worked out my yardage this morning. It was 656 yards or 600 meters, and it's a 326 gram skein. And I worked out my grist, which if you're a spinner, you probably know what that is, but it's basically you work out yards per pound. So using yards per pound, so how many yards of yarn is in a pound. It's not posty. How many yarns per pound you get, you would get if you had a pound of fibre that you spun to yarn. And I compared the grist to my avocado dyed, which is what this is meant to be with, and this one has a much higher grist by about 200 yards per pound. So it may or may not knit well together. I don't know. They're both the same fibre. They're both the same spin type, same wheel. Yeah, 3 plies, same wheel, same fibre, but this one has a higher grist. So I need to do some investigation, because I am not an expert on that kind of thing by any means. But I will have a quick look. They're both Aran weight. So I'm hoping, just simply for the fact that they're both about 10 wraps per inch, which gives an Aran weight that's on the lighter end of Aran. They're both about 10 WPI, so I'm hoping because of that they'll knit together fine, and the grist won't make any difference. But I might do a swatch and give it a bit of a wash before I do a stripy swatch or something, just to see how they play together, give it a wash, see how they come out. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. It's lovely and soft and squishy. It's my yarn baby, because it's literally the size of virtually a newborn baby. And yeah, I'm really, really pleased with it. Don't really know what else to say. Just 3 plies, worsted spun on my Ashford Traveller wheel, and plied on my Super Jumbo Ashford e-spinner. So that is my yarn. I have 2 more spins on the go, so I need to get on with those. One of those is on my electric eel, and although it's really, really good for spinning super fine singles, I'm struggling a little bit with the power behind my electric eel, because sometimes it spins fantastically and it feels really powerful, and then other times it's like it's got no guts and I can't do anything with it. So it's a little bit hit and miss with my electric eel. So that's one I have to finish, and then I have another one that I started on my eSpinner 3, and that's my first spin on the eSpinner 3. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that and getting really comfortable with using the eSpinner. Obviously, I think I've spoken about this before. If you're a long-term viewer, you know that I got the Super Jumbo to spin and ply large amounts of yarn on for my shop. However, I am not comfortable spinning on that wheel. Or I guess you can call it a wheel. Because of the way that the Jumbo e-spinner works, it has a lot of pull, and I find trying to spin fine singles on something that's got that much pull, I'm having trouble getting enough twist into my fibre to be strong enough to withstand that pull. So I don't think the way I spin is really doesn't really gel with that spinner. So that's why I got the e-spinner 3 to do the spinning on, because they have like the, are they called jumbo bobbins? Ashford have 3 sort of sizes of bobbins. You've got the normal regular ones, you've got the bigger ones, and then you've got the super jumbo ones, which are huge. They're like dumbbells, they're hilarious. But yeah, the e-spinner 3 has the like bigger, the medium size one, so you can actually get at least 100 grams of fibre, because I mean I can get 100 grams of fibre onto one of the regular small bobbins. So you can get at least 100 grams of fibre onto one of those bobbins, and then I can ply on my Super Jumbo. So I'm all sorted out. I've got those 2 spins on the go, and I want to get those done. And I want to try and get through more of my fibre stash, because you're not supposed to keep your fibre stash forward that long, because it can get compacted and things like that. And a lot of my fibre has been there for years, years and years and years. So I really need to get through that fibre. But that is for a future date. I have some knitting that I have been working on. As usual, I am a little bit all over the place, and I have projects that you have seen and, you know, in the last episode, and projects that you haven't seen for a few episodes. So, and I think I have one new one. I can't remember if I showed you. I cast on a new pair of socks. I know I mentioned casting on a new pair of socks, but I have actually done it. But before I get to that, I might show you how far along I am in Simon's cardigan. So this is the Hey Handsome Cardigan, and I can't remember, I think I'd started the back last time I spoke to you. I'd done both of the sleeves, or I was finishing the second sleeve, but I have now done some of the back. This needs to be 19 inches long before I can start the armholes, and I think I'm about 5 inches away from that, so I'm about 14 inches in. But yeah, just knitting along, doing my cables. I'm still thinking that the cables still look pretty good, so even though it is a 2-ply yarn, they are a little flatter, I guess, than you would expect from a 3-ply yarns. My little owlie there. And yeah, so I'm just sort of going on, knitting away on this as and when my hands allow, because my hands actually have been quite painful lately. I don't know what that's about. This elbow here is very sore as well, so I'm worried that I'm going back to, I think, when was it? It was before we moved here. I had a lot of pain in my hands and elbows, and I couldn't lift anything, and I had tests and all sorts of things, and nothing came back. No inflammation, no nothing. It was recommended that it was suggested that I probably had just some sort of repetitive movement pain, strain. So yeah, I'm worried that I'm getting to that point again, because I have been getting quite a bit of pain, and so I'm trying to keep it pretty minimal. I'm trying not to spin too much, especially because I have a lot of work. Knit too much. I have a lot of work on with my yarn club and things like that, and I can't be disabled, because I need to finish those and get those packages out. So because of that, I haven't been doing a whole ton of knitting. I haven't been doing all day knitting like I possibly could be, because of, you know, quarantine and things like that. And so yeah, I'm not doing all day knitting. I'm spending a lot of the day doing not much with my hands if I can help it. Like, obviously if I'm working I have to use my hands, but if I have some downtime, I'm trying not to use my hands, and I'm trying to just sit and watch TV or something like that, just so I'll read. So I'm not doing something active with my hands. So because this has got cables every 6 rows, it is a little bit hard on the hands. Plus it's ribbed. You can see because, you know, we've got knitting and purling in between. So ribbed. Yeah, it's quite hard on my hands to knit this. So yeah, I'm just doing it as often as possible because obviously I want Simon to have this cardigan before the end of winter this year. I'd like it to be on his body by then, well before then. I don't want it to be, you know, worn once and then put away till next year. So yeah, I am trying to get this done as quickly as I can, but like I said, I am taking breaks just to rest my hands. And something that I know that you have seen that I picked up again last night is my So Faded. And I am on to my last colour, which I was the last time I showed you. Get myself untangled. And if you recall, I was worried about the length. I wasn't sure how long I wanted it to be. And I've been wearing my no frills sweater. If you follow me on Instagram, I did post a picture of myself yesterday wearing my no frills sweater. And I laid this sweater over the top of my no frills, and my no frills is possibly just a smidge short, but it's perfectly comfortable as it is. And this turned out longer than my no frills, so I decided I would just start the ribbing, which is what I did last night. So I've only started a weeny little bit of ribbing. Yeah, so just started it last night. I did a little bit more this morning. And yeah, so I need to do 2 inches of ribbing, and I'm just going to get that done, and then I can get onto the sleeves, which I'm pretty excited about because I'm going to be changing colours quite quickly through those sleeves. But if you recall, this is all my own hand-dyed yarn. We've got Solstice at the top, which I think I mentioned. I had the ball of Solstice and I'm like, oh, I'm finished with that. I don't need that anymore. So I wound it back into a skein, and then I'm like, you got to knit the collar, dum-dum. So, so I'm going to have to go and rewind that skein. But yes, Solstice is the white with the grey. And then we've got Wilted, which is this pink, sort of a yellowy pink. Then we have Flushed. Where are we? Night Court there, and then Intangible on the bottom. So I'm really pleased with this fade. I really think I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this. I mean, the pink to the grey is a little stark, but because you have those sort of blending rows, it's not too bad. But I think the colours play really, really nicely together. If you turn it on the side, we can probably get a better look. So I think they play quite well together. And yeah, I'm really keen to get this finished because, again, I would like this finished before the end of winter so I can actually wear it. But for now, it's just doing that 2 inches of ribbing, and hopefully the next time I talk to you, I'll have a sleeve on. And I think I have one more thing to talk about, and it's a sock. So I mentioned last episode that I was going to frog the sock that I started out of the homespun house yarn. Looking back and revisiting it, I might just keep going. It's not so bad. It is obviously spiral pulling, but there are so many kind of colours and shades and things in there that it kind of, I think I'll make an exception. I think it's okay. But for now I am working on this sock, which is some just another basic vanilla sock, which is, I'm knitting this from Gumi 50, which is one of my absolute favourite sock yarns. It's Bergère de France, and it's Gumi 50, and this is beige imprim, or imprim beige, and yeah, I really like this this yarn. I wish there was more colours because I don't love the other colours that are available, because I got this from Love Crafts, which I think was formerly Love Knitting, and because I already have 2 socks that I knit ages ago out of this same base, and I love wearing them. They're just really lovely. I have 2 more balls because they're 50-gram balls, so I get 2 to make a pair of full-size socks. Oh, the magpies are talking. How long have they been talking? We've had some magpies out the front, and me being a crazy bird lady, I just love it. There's been some babies out there with their sort of mottly grey feathers, and yeah, anyway, tangent. Yeah, so I have another 2 balls of Imprim Seal, I think it's called. It's like more of a blue, and I purchased this one recently, which is the Imprim Beige, and this is always one that I've really quite liked. But recently, Kristen from Voile & Vine has knit a pair of socks. And this time also, as you will notice here, I've done a heel flap pretty much for shits and giggles, just for something different. Although it's left this one, this one row of, there we go, it's this one row of orange through there from, like, left from the heel. So, I mean, it's kind of made me feel like I did just do a Fish Lips Kiss heel, because it's got that weird one stripe, but I'm sure it's fine. It'll be okay. But yeah, I just wish there was more better colours, like, because a lot of them are like red and black and things like that, and it's not really my jam. You know, pink and grey and all that kind of stuff that I'm into. So, and you know, this is kind of that goldy coral kind of, it's really lovely. I really like it. It's like a corally orange gold kind of, you know, rose gold kind of colour. So yeah, I guess I can just keep an eye out and see if I find any more colourways in that yarn. But yeah, at least I'll have this pair, I'll have my other pair that I already have some yarn for, so I'll have 4 Goomy sock pairs of socks, which makes me happy because I really like this yarn. It's nice and toothy. Like, I don't particularly enjoy very smooth, fine socks, because it's not even that they wear quicker, because I literally have not worn through a pair of socks. I think I have one pair of socks that was getting thin for some reason. I don't know why. Possibly because it was re-knit. It was just frogged and re-knit without being washed. So I don't know whether that had something to do with it. And I have done that. I just haven't woven in the end, so I still can't wear those socks. They are still in my to-do pile. But other than that, I've not worn through a pair of socks, and I've been knitting socks since 2013, I think, and I still am wearing socks from years and years ago. What am I wearing today? They're pretty recent socks. These are also out of my hand-dyed yarn. This is my velveteen colourway. These were knit from leftovers from my no-frills, my original no-frills sweater. But yeah, I do prefer more of a toothy kind of sock. I do feel like they're warmer, I think, because I don't know if it comes across on the camera, but it's got like, I find that the rustic yarns have more of like a halo, like little stray, like more little stray hair coming out of it, which I think is just like an extra little bit of insulation to keep you warm. But yeah, don't need to be pontificating about yarn. But yeah, my preferred sock yarns are more rustic, more toothy. These ones that I'm currently wearing are out of my BFL base, and I love BFL socks as well. They're also some of my favourites, but I think that's it. I think that's about it. I'm done. I don't think there's anything else really to talk about. I finished a 67-hour fast yesterday. That's probably the only other thing that's going on. I was aiming for 72, but I got to the point where I just felt so yuck. I was tired, I felt tired and sluggish, and I had a thumping headache, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to break this early and just have something to eat. But yeah, I literally went for 67 hours with just black coffee, water, and a couple of cups of beef broth, so I was pretty pleased with that. I think next month I'll try for the full 72. But for now, I'll go back to my alternate day fasting. But yeah, that's probably the only thing really that's going on. So I guess I will leave it there. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Give it, you know, by hitting that like button. And if you really loved it, make sure you are subscribed. But until next time, happy knitting, happy crafting. Please take care of yourselves in the current climate environment, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.